Gentlemen, for yielding, and I want to thank you and I want to thank Mr. DeFazio both for your work on this, not only in this Congress, but your yeoman's work at the end of the last Congress to try to get this problem resolved. And I apologize for coming down late. I want to participate more fully, but the Rules Committee is meeting as we are speaking on the Iraq issue, and so I was up there and didn't have a chance to come down. But let me make a couple of points here. This really is about keeping a commitment that was made by the federal government to the counties. And you just made the point there about counties in the western, or states with counties in the western part of the United States have a lot of federal ownership. I have two counties that I just want to talk about in my district where over 80% of their land is owned by the federal government. Now, by definition, that means that 80% of the taxable land that the county commission would have is not subject to taxation. The decision was made over 100 years ago in these national forest lands, which is principally in my area. I know you have some BLM lands in yours. But since they don't have taxation, they said, okay, deals were worked out many years ago that you could have the revenue from harvesting the timber, which worked out very, very well. So that's a federal policy that was made. Federal government owns the land in these counties, and so therefore they can't tax it. Federal policy. In the early 90s, another federal policy, or interpretation, I should probably say, of a federal policy, has led to a decline in timber receipts, as you can see here by the
this chart right here.
By the chart
shows
right
it
there.
Very clearly.
The promise was, when President Clinton, to his credit, tried to come up with the forest plan, the promise was that the current level at that time of timber harvest was 4.5 billion board feet. And the promise was that you could at least harvest 1.1 billion, 25% of it. We're not even close to that. We're not even close to that because the interpretation of that law and the ensuing lawsuits has kept any activity in these multipurpose areas. And I should make this point. This is national forest land. National forests were created to be multi-purpose, including commercial activity. If you want to lock it up and not have any activity at all, well, the way to do that is to put it in a wilderness area. This is not wilderness. This is not wilderness. Now, some de facto policies, unfortunately, in the past, have led to sometimes this being being treated as wilderness areas, but it's not. So as a result of this, as a result of the timber receipts going down, these counties who relied on the federal receipts from timber, because they couldn't tax land, now are facing huge cuts. Chelan County in my district, one of the counties that has 80% ownership by the federal government, will have severe cuts in education, road maintenance, search and rescue. This is a big tourist area up there, and their forestry education programs. Skamania County, a small county in the southern part of my district, loses 40% of its school budget. 40% of its school budget. And here we are, and that 40% starts at the end of last year, and they have to get through the end of the year. So this is something that needs to be resolved, and I really appreciate your allowing me to come down to participate in this. Both of you have been really champions on getting this through, and hopefully we'll be successful sooner rather than later, because these counties and these communities in our state simply can't wait. So I yield back to my friend.